Well, I'm having problems with the website I created, MARIONLIGHTARTILLERY, and I'm using Hostinger, so I don't know what's going on with them because my three free cheap websites from Tripod Lugco seem to have no problems. But just to prove that it's up there, it's you can see here's the menus, and you can see as you hover over them, they turn like a nice little orange color and go bold, well, yellow color, and they go bold, and they have the article over here, and everything's working fine now because they just call tech support. Financial causes of the War of 1861 to 1865. They have the article out here, The Financial Strategies of the Northern Money Powers. And this is here, and also a quote from John Pierpont Morgan once said, a man always has two reasons for what he does, a good one, a good sounding one, and a real one, exposing the real reason the North invaded the South, and the financial reason, really. That is all working. For a second, I thought Google was messing with me because I was attacking the powers, but this was another web page I put up. It's psych ops used against the South. Probably to be more on this, but I want to put this out here. Understand the motives of those behind the relentless attacks against the South and the Confederacy. This will show you the basic psych op techniques that were employed even back in the 1960s. The techniques used today are much more sophisticated. Remember the signing off national anthem that was on TV back when the TV was black and white back in the 60s, and then it would go to like the, like there's no signal from the networks. I remember that. We had the little bunny ears, and we used to have the more souped up antenna up in the attic to get the reception. Anyway, this was the signing off national anthem contained subliminal messages that were used from the early 1960s, and he often used the image of the Lincoln Memorial. The Lincoln Memorial represented the power of the federal government. Lincoln also was a corporate attorney who served the big railroads. The South fought to free itself from such tyranny. The powers of today are where it is, thus the relentless attack on anything Confederate. Thought this was a very important page because it will make people understand why we were being attacked. And these were the subliminal messages that were planted in the national anthem on the signing off of TV networks back in the 60s. Trust the U.S. government. God is real. God is watching. Believe in government God. Rebellion will not be tolerated. Confederates, you'll not be tolerated. Obey, consume, obey, consume. Worship, consume, obey, believe. Buy Ultra, buy Naomi, which is referring to the CIA mind control projects. Do not question government. So they had that in there. So again, I put this about the changes to the Confederate Constitution was limiting the money powers. This was a video that I did on that. Then I also took some screenshots where you can see, if you couldn't see me in the video that well, you can look at this little screenshot thing here. It shows, trust the U.S. government one by one in the video where you can see that. I wanted this up here because this is really why, they're against anything Confederate. And even you people that are in YouTube land, Google land and stuff, you don't understand what's going on exactly. I know they have a surface reason why this North invaded the South, but that was really not the reason. It was money, power, and control. The South fought to free itself from such tyranny. The powers of today are aware of this, thus the relentless attack on anything Confederate. By the way, this is one of the Confederate flags in St. Augustine, Florida, any fate but submission. Also in Ocala, Florida, they raised a flag that was called, had a single blue star on it, leave us alone. So I have the Confederate reenactment videos up here, the Ocklawaha River Raid, and the Brooksville Raid. It's taking a little bit to load right now in a second, but they're there. Anyway, here we go. So this was the cavalry charge. There's the Confederates there. These are the films I did over on YouTube. They're also on BitChute. I don't know how to freaking plug them into these will play on the web browser on the site, so that's good. This was the truth about Captain Wirtz. This is when I was up there in Andersonville. I'm going to be up there in Georgia again. We're going to film Susan Lee. This is why I'm hoping to have this site working. It's not YouTube a problem. It's this was Dr. Albert Winkler's speech, and here was the transcript, which is a real pain to get that for me, to get that out from the speech. This is Georgia Military Order Stars and Bars, Andersonville speaking. And this was me driving. This was my overview of the town and stuff. So, and this was a PDF from the captain up there in Albany, the commander, excuse me. Getting all confused here a second. And this was another thing. These are the Sons Confederate Veterans videos I did over here. These were on Confederate Memorial Day over at the Confederate Cemetery. So you can see the videos I've got up on YouTube. They're up in BitChute too, just in case YouTube doesn't like them. But the thing is, that's why I'm pointing out to you YouTube reviewers, look at the psych ops, what they played against us, even from the 1960s that we know about, that's verifiable information. And you wonder why they really do hate everything against, they have so much against the Confederacy, because we didn't want to submit. That's what it was. So this was all the goings on we had, the original Confederate cannon. Then I also put up here, you can see when you hover over this, God, I don't know why it's not working. There's when you hover over it, it's supposed to give the camp name. It was doing it a second ago, but when you click it on, this will go to the other sites. I'm not sure why that's not. Actually, when you hover over it, the hover feature is not working right now. It's weird. Maybe that's because I need to reload this or something. I'm not sure. But so yeah, it could be. But it goes to the other campsites. In other words, all the campsites that are in the 8th Brigade. So that's also on there. Besides looking at the yeah. Well, maybe it's because it's an older browser. It could be too. But anyway, when you hover over it, it'll say this is 1786 is the Major General John C. Breckinridge. This one is Judah P. Benjamin. This is Private. This one is Colonel John Marshall Martin, and it says it right there. Maybe it's not working on this particular web browser, but this, in other words, so when people look at this, links to local Sons of Confederate websites, you can just click them on. You can go boom, and it opens up to that page. So I did that. So now there's a lot more I'd like to put on this, and of course, if you hit About Us, you have down in here basic philosophy. Confederate values and principles remain important. They remain important because they represent the same principle as the original U.S. Betsy Ross flag: limited constitutional federal government, states' rights, resistance to tyranny, which is what they don't want, and Christian values and principles. And some people don't even want that too, but hey, resistance to tyranny, I'm all on that. So pro-Confederate knowledge base, that goes back to my PDF articles on the Confederate Heritage site. Florida History and Battles, this goes to Dixie Defenders campsite. Now this site takes a little while to open because the guy actually who made it used to work for MIT. He's very intelligent. So the site has got all the history of Florida in there about in the Confederacy. And this one, I don't know if I have it going to the actual camp website here for. This is probably my computer right here doing this. Yeah, see. I'm using one of the computers I like to use the most. Now, that's not, I know if I told Hostinger this, they would say, that's the problem. No, I got other Windows 7 computers. I don't have any Windows 10. I resisted that. But one of the computers I like using the most is an XP computer. And that's because it's got so much software on it that cost gobs of money way back when. And besides, the software works fine. It just works fine. The editing software for graphics and PDFs and stuff. So this is another one when it goes back to our history. Like if you look at that Florida History and Battles, it goes to this, which is on Dixie Defenders. And there's a lot of things that actually occurred in Florida. This guy from MIT made this site, so he put a lot in there, with all the sources and everything. See this? So I'm linking that back to my site, but my site is not working a lot of times. And it's embarrassing because I'm emailing people about this, and I'm thinking, tech support emails me back, it's working on our end. That's Hostinger, and then it doesn't work after a while, and then they say, they're telling me to, clear your web cache and your browser and restart. I'm like saying, it doesn't work on 4 different laptops, 2 desktops, and my cell phone, and other people can't access it that aren't even in my area. And you're telling me to go, clear my web cache, and then as soon as you email me back that it's working, of course. Now, I have actually had no problem with the tripod sites I made. These are tripod sites, no problem. They work fine. So I don't know what's going on with Hostinger. It's freaking really weird. But anyway, I hope it continues to work though, because I got, I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take a copy of the site with my old trusty dusty front page 2000, which I bought in 2000. That was some really high, pretty good stuff, but no more. I don't even use front page anymore. But I'm going to take a copy of this damn thing instead of just a backup from them, because if I got to upload this someplace, I could change the links that are within the web pages, because I know front page kind of changed the links around, but if you change them around to the files wherever the hell you're hosting it at, where the locations, you can FTP up the web pages from even the stuff you created in front page 2000. It could work even today, even at ancient software. But this was something, I filmed over at the camp. He was talking about all the flags and stuff. So that's up on. So my videos up on YouTube are up on this. So they're up on this too. And I thought this would be, the SCV videos would be a great thing for, promotion of getting new members in. It's possible my internet connection's a little slow here. I don't know. But I'm surprised the hover doesn't work on here right now. This should be, well, maybe it's this older web browser, but this should, when you put you hover over this, it should say the name of the camp should pop up there. But when you just click it on, it opens up the camp website. So there's 5 camps in the 8th Brigade, and I have the 6th camp, which I'm not in the 8th Brigade. That's Dixie Defenders. I have that one opening up too. But I thought this would be a great tool, and it's embarrassing that it's not working, and it's not me. It's not me. It's like it actually is Hostinger, and I'm beginning to suspect they're not a good web service. But who the hell knows? We shall find out. But I'm beginning to suspect, once you have your, the reviews on Hostinger are really great. That's why I went with them. And then again, they could be planted reviews, even though they're all over the place. That's how you freaking get things going. And once you get past your money back guarantee, probably, I never seen a web hosting service that was this bad right now. It's really bad. Right now the site's working fine. It's working. But I don't know how long. This is like the second, it's already gone down 2 times today for several hours. This is aggravating the hell out of me, and I'm thinking they're telling me, yeah, we checked your SSL certificate and stuff, and I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm getting suspicious. But I think this is a very important page here. Psych ops used against the South, and also the financial costs of the war between states. Those 2 pages, because I think anybody will understand this, including, people working at YouTube and Google that are probably trained to look at these type of videos and say they're hate. And even including people in the ADL, if you understand what's going on, that basically the South was crushed just like Rome crushed the Jewish nation. That's really what it was. The only thing with the South was not fighting for slavery. They were fighting for independence from a corrupt government that was using all the Southern tax money, which was most of the money that was put into the federal treasury, and it was being used up north. So like when I put down in here, it is, this is the balance of power, basically. The financial strategy of the northern money powers. I might as well put it out on here, because I don't know if the site's going to stay up. It's very obvious that a shift in the number of states, either to the north or south, would cause control of Congress, in the Congress, to move and thus dictate in which states the federal revenue was spent, and also determine the tariff rates on agricultural goods, where the federal treasury obtained 85% of its money. The wealthy in the North used the abolitionists as tools to keep the balance of voting power in Congress in favor of northern industry. And I also have details on Lewis Tappan, the big financier up there and the predecessor for Dun & Bradstreet credit reporting system. He was a quote-unquote abolitionist, but really for money reasons, but I don't want to get into that because it'll make the video too long. The arrangement, dictated by a majority of northern states, was that the southern states paid most of the revenue into the federal treasury, and then that federal treasury money was in turn used to subsidize northern interest in industries. The fight in Kansas and Missouri over slavery, quote unquote, was all about keeping the balance of power in favor of the northern financial oligarchs. It had nothing to do with helping the black man. The northern oligarchs shrewdly used the abolitionists and their media outlets as a means to keep the financial powers in their hands. On the surface, many were outwardly against slavery, were against expanding slavery, only due to the fact that the expansion of slavery and the plantation system, which paid the tariffs, could shift the balance of power back to the South. Then the southern states would have enough votes in Congress to ensure that the tariff money, which they paid into the federal treasury, would be spent in their own southern states. The 1860 Republican platform that was against expanding slavery in the western states was solely designed to keep the voting power in Congress in favor of northern interest and still maintain slavery in the South, which kept production high and thus ensured a steady revenue stream into the federal coffers to be used mainly by the North. As of 1861, and with the election of Lincoln, the South was doomed to forever be ruled as a colony by northern oligarchs. Thus came about the Battle of the South for states' rights and independence. Then I have another article down here about what was really going on with the North offered them when the South seceded. The North actually offered the South permanently protected slavery via constitutional amendment. The South rejected that because it really wasn't over that. And that's the big problem we have today, that the South is still being subjected to psych ops that are very sophisticated, far more sophisticated than what was revealed, even that was used in the 1960s. So I have this up on this Marion Light Artillery site besides all our activities, and I think it's a simple, quick message to really show people what's going on without being too complicated. And if the site doesn't work, like half the time, or more than half the time, every time I call this tech support over in Hostinger, they say everything's working good on my end, and then now it's working good because you just got back to me, and I'm wondering what's going on. I was beginning to suspect, the big bad Google was doing this, but they're not. They're not. And I hope the people in the big bad Google are not bad people, understand where I'm coming from, because right now they got me on YouTube as hate, quote unquote. That's why I'm demonetized. Well, this is not hate. This is actually fighting the freaking powers of Satan, whatever you want to call them. The powers of Rome. It's a little tiny nation trying to stop the big powers, and they're getting crushed. So, tomorrow I'm going to be up to Brooksville raid, and I'm going to be filming that. It's another Confederate reenactment. That'll be up on YouTube and BitChute and Minds. I'm kind of spreading my bets because I hope YouTube still keeps continuing on. And anyway, I'm fighting a good fight, but I'm very mad that this site isn't working a lot of times, and I'm getting really, I prepaid them for 4 years, and I prepaid the, if this thing is staying up and running for 6 months, I'll prepay them for 10 years. But damn it, what the hell? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm having a problem. So you can see all the screenshots. You know they're doing this right now. You know that the centralized powers that control us behind the scenes with propaganda and subliminal messages, they do not like the message of the Confederacy that is saying we don't want to be controlled. Right here, this is a flag from St. Augustine, Florida. Any fate but submission. We don't want to be we don't want to be controlled, but we don't even be owned by you. And that's why I really got to not appeal to Susan Wojcinski. I got to appeal to the Google reviewers, YouTube reviewers, what's going on. So anyway, just want to make a document here. This video will be up on BitChute also, and Minds. It'll be up on YouTube. Just want to document that the website is working. It's working fine. So if you see this, you put this on here, you know, it just it goes right to it. It's got all the videos will play on here. It's fine. It's working fine. Everything's linking up. The SCV videos, they all work fine. I'm not sure if there's a problem with the hover function on these buttons, but when you hover over these buttons, like when they change color like that, there should be words that pop up that say, like in that case, it should be Major General John C. Breckinridge. It shouldn't just have the number. This way it explains to people what the name of the camp is when you hover over it. You know, it might be this older web browser that's possibly doing that, but I think it was working like that before, so I don't know. That could be another freaking defect. And I might have to move this site over to someplace else other than Hostinger because I don't know what's going on with these guys. It's aggravating. Very aggravating. Very aggravating. Anyway, over and out. So this is just documented that it really is. And what really burning me up too, I just want to add this. I was going to make yard signs and other signage and also put this MARIONLIGHTARTILLERY.com on documents, paper documents, to reference where to go. Also have it on yard signs and other types of signage that people could physically see to go to this site. And then they can also see the YouTube videos on the reenactments, the activities and stuff like that. And the site's not working most of the time. So I don't want to make any signage about this. You know, I bought the domain. I mean, these people are freaking horrible, man. It's amazing. I shouldn't have went with this web. I'm really thinking I should not have went with this web hosting service. But I'm thinking, I'd like to know is how the hell can I transfer this site to someplace else? Just get rid of this crap, because if this crap is continuing like this for the next month, I'm going to tell you Hostinger's name is going to be mud, because I'm suspecting all these wonderful reviews that they have on them on the internet might be written by their own employees, which are probably students. Yeah. Yeah, the hover function is not working, so this should be, when I hover over this, it should say something, a word, a sentence should pop up, but maybe that's this older web browser, I'm not sure, but the site is actually fairly good. If you want to check it out, you can look at this psych ops used against the South and the financial costs of the war of 1861 and 1865, and you'll get, you know, I wrote that article themselves. There's 2 articles. I wrote those. And unlike people that complicate things too much, I want to keep it simple, stupid. Get right to the heart of the core of the matter. In other words, this is stuff everybody can understand. White and black, Asian, American Indian, or whatever. They can all understand this. So, you know, it's the powers that want to own and control us. They do not like the Confederacy because it was about breaking away from those powers. Okay? Over and out.